You're over 40 and you just lost your job, and America is in the deepest recession ever known. The cycle of life that each of us go through as we advance through our career, we have the young part of our career, we have the middle most productive part of our careers, and we have the unfortunate downside of your career. Now, if you're not really sure what I'm talking about, maybe you're too young to understand. When you're at the beginning of your life, many people want to help you grow. Many people want to help you get to where you're trying to get to. This happens between age 16 and 32. During this time period, people go to college. People are trying to figure out what they should do. And you'll notice if you don't go to college, you actually will get many people who want to help. They want to hire you for different things, especially if you have your own business. Once you reach the magical age of 32, life changes. Nobody's really looking to hire you anymore to help you. During this time period, the expectation is that you are self-sufficient. You are able to get your own jobs. You are able to work at the places that you need to work at to be successful. You have planted your seeds. You are reaping the yields of your earlier life's plantings. And once you get up over 40, you're old. The things I was willing to put up with when I was younger, I'm no longer willing to do. You reach that magical moment in the workplace when suddenly somebody says, hey, pick that piece of paper up off the floor. And you say, no. Now, of course, I don't mean literally. But events and opportunities like this happen all the time. And this is the moment when the employee decides that they are on their way to being the employer. Now, whether you actually end up becoming an employer, that's a whole nother discussion. But as you become older and wiser, more experienced, you're done putting up with the bull crap. You say, what's next for me? What am I going to do next? And as you try to continue that life, that 32 to 48 life, beyond 50, suddenly people are going to look at you and say, Grandma needs to move on. Then there are concerns of retirement. There are concerns that you are going to start costing the company money. Then there are concerns of you will no longer put up with the bullcrap that you were once willing to put up with, even if you're still here. And so today on Reddit, I see McCool133 posts, over 50 and super lost. Where do I go from here? Now, if we read, they say, I'm 55 and I lost my job in February of 2024. Now, first of all, that's awful, right? I mean, anybody losing their job, that's absolutely terrible. I once had an executive say, you're not fired, you're just displaced. It's an opportunity for future opportunities. In which, of course, I say, that might be true for some people. That is not true for everybody. I'm 55 and I lost my job in February of 2024. I'm feeling so incredibly lost and where to go next. I've been a digital artist graphic designer for looks like about 20 years. And most recently worked as a contractor. Currently, what the recruiters are saying is pretty scary. Way too many applicants for few roles. I'm so stressed out and fearing the worst. There's a constant buzz in the industry about more layoffs and possibilities of getting your CV to HR. And it's eerily quiet for my recruiters. Way too quiet. Now, this person is not wrong. We are in a recession. If you went through the 2008 financial crisis and you experienced what the workplace was like in 2008, everybody was walking on eggshells. Nobody wanted to rock the boat. Everybody was just trying to keep their job. They would sympathize with somebody who didn't have a job, but everybody just tried to keep what they had and hoping that things would get better. But in 2008, the news put it on the TV. The radios talked about it on the radio, coincidentally. The internet had it on the internet. We were in a recession. Are we in a recession right now? It sure to hell feels like it. How else would you explain the number of people who have been laid off, the number of companies that are closing down, and the number of small businesses that simply vanish? Folks, whether the TV says it, whether the internet says it, or even if you still listen to it, the radio says it, Even if they don't, if they're not, even if they don't, I will say it. We're in a recession. This sure to hell feels like a recession to me. Now, to answer your question on Reddit. Losing your job over 50 is not good. Currently, as an employed person still in that 32 to 48 age range, I know my time is coming. I know it'll be soon. And I know that as soon as I lose my job, the likelihood that I'll get another job is probably quite low. But I know that. And I'm going into it. The question of should you be working with recruiters or not, the question of should you be continuing your career, the one that you worked so hard, that you've worked 20 plus years to achieve, should you keep doing that? Yes. But just understand, it's going to be harder and harder to find employment opportunities. It's going to be harder and harder to find employers who are willing to hire. And we say, okay, there are a lot of people, there are too many people in your field who are chasing the same jobs. I completely understand. Then stop chasing the same jobs everybody else is chasing. Here's the job for a moment for you. Most of the jobs that people chase after are jobs that are posted online. Most of the jobs that people are chasing after are ones that recruiters have found for them. And we as Americans have spent so much of our time chasing these jobs that are on job postings and that recruiters have found for us that we forgot that there are other opportunities out there. We just have to be willing to go find them. And I'm sure you're on Upwork, so you can continue to do your work there. But there are smaller companies, and there are other companies that don't post on Indeed. There are smaller companies that would love to have your help, would love to have you contribute to their organization. Now, it might be true. They may not pay as well as your last job. So you have to ask yourself, am I after the pay or am I after the stability? If there's anything I've learned over the years is that nothing stays the same. No matter how you try, the environment is always going to change. Money is never going to be stable. There's always going to be people who are rich and people who are going to be poor. There's no such a thing as utopia. We all get old and we all die. Despite what we think, we will all eventually die. And so here is the next part of your life. You're over 50. You have all this fantastic knowledge and experience. At this point, you could illustrate a book for basically about anybody. You know how to use all the tools. You know everything you need to know to run your own operation. You know your tools and your industry so well that if you had to, you could run your own operation. But the key, regardless of whether we are in a recession or not, we all have to reinvent ourselves. We all have to grow beyond our prior boundaries. We all have to do crazy things that we never thought we would have to do. And when you reinvent yourself, that does not mean you have to use the skills that you've been learning for the most productive time of your life. That might mean that instead that may mean you decide to choose a different career. That may mean you just decide to follow a passion that you have. But it does mean things have changed. The final hard thing that I will tell you is that the life you experienced from age 32 to 48, the most productive years of your life, they're never coming back. I'm sorry. They're never coming back. But because they are never coming back does not mean the next 20 years of your life cannot be just as productive. My suggestion to you is put yourself on Upwork, create designs on your own, put them out on the internet, find a job that you can work, a temporary job, a job locally, maybe at a law office or something that's different, something that you've never done before, just to stabilize your home. Create designs on the side, find local companies that may want your help, find other ways to contribute, and find other ways to help others. Because ultimately, that's what this is all about.